I was standing at the airport with my son, Ethan, chatting about our upcoming trip, when an immigration officer suddenly grabbed my arm. His grip was firm, too firm to be routine. Before I could react, he leaned in so close I felt his breath on my ear and whispered, "Pretend I'm arresting you. Don't say a word." For a moment, I thought I had misheard him. But then his expression changed, cold, urgent, terrified. "Sir, is something wrong?" I managed to ask under my breath. He didn't blink. "Your life is in danger. Do exactly as I say." My heart stopped. I'm 54 years old. I've run companies, survived lawsuits, market crashes, and betrayals in business. But nothing prepared me for an agent telling me that someone in my own family had appeared on the security cameras doing something so disturbing. That I had to be arrested just to stay alive. The officer's grip tightened as he guided me away from the line, his badge flashing under the fluorescent airport lights. People stared. Some whispered. Others moved aside as if I were a criminal. I kept my face blank, exactly as he instructed, but inside my chest, my heart was slamming like a fist against a locked door. "Walk normally," he murmured without turning his head. "Do not look back." I needed to look. Ethan and my daughter-in-law, Madison, were right behind me. We were supposed to be boarding a flight to Zurich for a 2-week family trip. A trip I thought would help us reconnect after years of distance. But now, walking beside this officer who smelled faintly of gun oil and adrenaline, I felt something else rising in me. Fear. The kind of fear that comes from knowing someone knows something about you or someone close to you. We passed through a restricted doorway, down a narrow corridor, and into a small room with no windows. The officer closed the door, locked it, and for the first time since grabbing me, turned to face me fully. "My name is Special Agent Cole Harrington," he said. "Homeland Security." His voice had authority, but also urgency, like every second he spent explaining was a second putting me at risk. "I need you to remain calm, Mr. Hayes." I tried to steady my breathing. "You said my life is in danger." "From what? From who?" He didn't answer immediately. He walked to the desk, typed something into a terminal, and the monitor flickered on. An airport security feed angled from above, showing the baggage drop-off area. "Watch closely," he said. The video showed me standing beside my luggage, distracted while searching for my passport. Behind me, Ethan and Madison appeared. They stood too close, and at first, there was nothing unusual. They were facing each other, talking quietly. And then Madison reached into her purse. She pulled out something small. A vial. Clear. Glass. No label. My stomach tightened. "Zoom in," Harrington ordered. The footage enlarged. Even grainy, I could see it clearly. Madison handed the vial to Ethan. He looked around, checking for cameras, ironically unaware of the one capturing everything from above. I watched my son, me own flesh and blood, unscrew the cap of the water bottle sticking from my backpack. He poured the contents of the vial inside. 10 seconds. That's all it took. My throat dried. "No," I whispered. "No, there has to be some mistake." "There's more," Harrington said. He clicked to another angle, parking garage footage. Ethan and Madison stood beside my rental SUV. Their voices were faint, but I heard enough. "Works fast, 3 hours max. Looks like a heart attack. His assets transfer immediately." The room began to spin. It felt like someone had reached inside my chest and ripped something out, something that once kept me alive. My son. My only son. "Mr. Hayes," Harrington said softly, "we intercepted this footage by accident. One of our analysts flagged the behavior as suspicious. When we understood what was happening, we intervened." I stared at the frozen frame of Ethan holding the doctored water bottle. Why? I whispered. Money. Inheritance. Control. Harrington looked at me with pity. We don't know the full motive yet. But we do know this: the substance in that vial wasn't harmless. If you had boarded that plane with your original water bottle, you wouldn't have survived the flight. I sat down hard, breath shaking. In 54 years of life, I had faced ruthless competitors, lawsuits, betrayals, and the loss of people I loved. But nothing compared to the sight of my son preparing to kill me. Mr. Hayes, Harrington said, you need to make a decision. And you only have minutes. I lifted my eyes to him. A decision about what? He took a deep breath. Whether we arrest them now. Or you continue the trip with them. And let us catch them trying again. For a long moment, I couldn't speak. It felt like someone had driven a steel rod straight through my chest. My hands were cold. My breaths uneven. I stared at the frozen image on the screen. Ethan's hand wrapped around my water bottle, his head slightly tilted as he made sure no one was watching. Except someone was. A camera none of us had noticed. Agent Harrington, I said finally, my voice barely holding together, this can't be real. Ethan wouldn't do something like this. He wouldn't as my son. Harrington didn't soften. I understand how painful this is. But the footage doesn't lie. I shook my head, almost violently. He must have been nervous. Maybe he grabbed my bottle by mistake. Maybe Madison put something else in that vial, vitamins or some liquid for herself. Mr. Hayes, Harrington interrupted gently but firmly, our forensic team already analyzed the discarded vial. The substance inside is lethal. A cardiac stimulant in a dosage strong enough to stop your heart within hours. It's designed to mimic sudden cardiac arrest in men over 50. No residue. No obvious signs of poisoning. It's one of the most common compounds used in staged inheritance murders. Inheritance murders. The words hit like a punch. I leaned back, my head pounding. Why? Why would my son do this to me? Harrington hesitated before answering. People kill for 3 reasons: survival, fear, or greed. Sometimes a mixture of all 3. We don't know which one applies yet. I closed my eyes, but the darkness didn't help. Memories flashed behind my eyelids, holding Ethan for the first time in the delivery room, teaching him to ride a bike, helping him with math homework, paying for his college, buying him his first car. I remembered the tears he shed at his wedding when he thanked me for being the best father a man could ever ask for. Were all those moments lies? Or did he simply change? No. I couldn't accept it. I couldn't. Yet there it was on the screen, clear, undeniable. My son trying to kill me. What about Madison? I asked quietly. She's involved, Harrington replied. She supplied the vial. She initiated the handoff. In the parking lot footage, she's the one discussing timing, symptoms, inheritance. In our experience, this level of coordination suggests both parties are fully committed. I rubbed my temples. The room felt too small, too suffocating. God, I whispered, I raised a monster. You raised a son who is in serious trouble, Harrington corrected. And right now, that same son believes his plan is still hidden. He and Madison think you'll drink from that bottle on the plane, and that you'll be dead by the time you land. A chill went down my spine. My death was scheduled. Planned. Expected. And I almost walked straight into it. Harrington leaned forward. Mr. Hayes, we saved your life. But now you have to choose how we end this. We can arrest them in the next 10 minutes. We have enough evidence to justify immediate detainment. I swallowed hard. And the other option? You continue traveling with them, he said. We replace your water bottle with a clean one, send undercover agents on the same flight, and monitor everything they do. If they attempt anything else, we document it. Complete, undeniable evidence. It guarantees a conviction. He paused. But it also means you'll be sitting next to your son and daughter-in-law, people who believe you'll be dead in a matter of hours. The thought made my skin crawl. Sitting next to my own killers. Pretending I knew nothing. Smiling. Talking. Acting. The idea was unbearable, unthinkable. But so was the thought of them walking free because of a loophole. A good lawyer. A technicality. How long before the flight boards? I asked. 40 minutes, Harrington replied. And I need your decision in 5. 5 minutes to decide whether to confront my son. Or descend into a 2-week nightmare where every smile hides a knife. I looked again at the screen, the vial, the bottle, Ethan's face as he leaned forward, making sure the poison dissolved. My throat tightened. This was the boy Helen and I raised. The boy whose future we built our lives around. The boy I still loved more than anything. But he wanted me gone. Dead. And pretending it wasn't true wouldn't save me. I exhaled slowly. Agent Harrington, I said, my voice low, steady, carved from something inside me I didn't know I still had. I'm going on that flight. Agent Harrington didn't react when I told him I would get on the plane. He just watched me studied meth way a surgeon studies a patient right before cutting open the chest. You understand what that means, he said quietly. I nodded, though my stomach twisted. Yes. It means if my son tries to kill me again I'll be sitting close enough to feel his breath. Harrington didn't sugarcoat it. Correct. He clicked off the monitor, and suddenly the room felt darker, heavier, as if the truth we just uncovered swallowed all the oxygen. He handed me a sealed water bottle identical to the one Ethan had tampered with and placed it in front of me. This is yours now. Keep it visible. They need to believe the plan is still on track. The thought made my skin crawl. You're telling me, I said slowly, that for the next 12 hours airport, boarding, flight I have to act like nothing happened. Yes, he said simply. And that my son still believes I'm going to die today. Harrington's voice softened for the first time. Mr. Hayes, if you want to collapse, scream, cry, this is the room to do it. Because once you walk out that door, you need to be a damn good actor. I almost laughed. Or maybe the sound was a choked sob, I wasn't sure. I'm a businessman, agent. I've negotiated mergers, hostile buyouts, labor disputes, I paused. But I've never negotiated my own survival. He stepped toward me and handed me my passport. You have 3 minutes left. 3 minutes. 3 minutes to prepare for the most twisted performance of my life. 3 minutes to pretend I still trusted my son, my own attempted murderer. 3 minutes to become a man who could look into the eyes of the people trying to kill him and smile. I closed my eyes. The last 6 months flashed through my mind, me wife's funeral, the weight of loneliness, the guilt over not being closer to Ethan, and the hope this trip would finally fix us. It was almost poetic in the cruelest way. The trip meant to heal us was the trip he planned to kill me on. I opened my eyes. What happens if they make another attempt after today? We'll be watching every second, Harrington said. On the plane, in Switzerland, at your hotel. Agents will be embedded as tourists, hotel staff, cab drivers. You won't see them, but they'll be there. And if they try something subtle? I asked. We're trained for subtle. They're not. A knock sounded at the door. Another officer leaned in. 2 minutes, sir. I felt sweat bead on my back. When we arrest them, I said, will I get to ask them why? Harrington hesitated. If you want that closure, yes. But be prepared, the answer may hurt more than the crime. I swallowed. Nothing can hurt worse than seeing what I saw on that footage. 1 minute, the officer said. Harrington straightened his jacket. After we walk out, we'll escort you back to the gate. I'll speak loudly about a visa issue. Your son will assume everything is normal. Normal. The word sounded like a cruel joke. I stood. My legs trembled, but I locked my knees. 54 years of controlling boardrooms, employees, corporate crises, now I just had to control my own fear. Harrington opened the door. The hallway outside looked painfully ordinary: white walls, buzzing lights, airport signs pointing to gates and restrooms. How strange that a world could look so normal while your reality collapsed in the space of a few videos. Ready? He asked. No, I said truthfully. But let's go. We walked back toward the main terminal. My mind raced with panic, dread, disbelief, but my face had to be calm. Casual. Fatherly. We approached the gate area, and then I saw them. Ethan stood up the moment he spotted me, worried expression, brows lifted, relief washing over his face. A performance so perfect it made me sick. Dad, he called. What happened? Are you okay? I forced a tired smile, the first lie of many I would tell today. Just a visa mix-up, I said. Everything's fine now. Ethan exhaled and placed a hand on my shoulder, the same hand that had poured poison meant to stop my heart. And I let him. Because this time, I was the one playing along. Boarding the flight felt like stepping into a coffin I was expected to seal shut myself. People moved around, my families juggling strollers, tourists laughing, businessmen tapping on phones, but it all felt muted, distant, as if I were watching life through thick glass. The only sounds I truly heard were my own heartbeat and Ethan's footsteps behind me. He walked so casually, so comfortably, that if I didn't know the truth I might have believed he genuinely cared whether I made it onto the plane. Take it easy, Dad, he said as I lifted my carry-on. I'll handle this for you. His hand brushed mine, warm, steady, deadly. Madison smiled at me, a soft, perfect smile she had practiced well. You look tired, Daniel. Long morning. Long morning. She had no idea. Or maybe she did. Maybe she enjoyed it. We settled into our seats, first class, 3 across. I had paid for this, thinking comfort would help us reconnect. Now it felt like a gilded trap. I sat by the window. Ethan sat in the middle. Madison took the aisle. The flight attendants offered champagne. I declined, afraid of anything I hadn't watched being opened. Ethan accepted. Madison, too. Dad, Ethan said gently, you should drink something. Hydration helps with long flights. He reached toward my backpack. That backpack. The one where my doctored water bottle had been. I had replaced it with the safe one Harrington gave me. But Ethan didn't know that. He unzipped the backpack and pulled out the bottle. Here, he said, extending it toward me. My pulse spiked. I forced a smile. Good idea. His eyes flicked over me, expectant, eager. As if I were a lab rat about to swallow a pill. I unscrewed the cap. Raised the bottle. Took a sip. Ice-cold water slid down my throat. Clean. Pure. Safe. But Ethan didn't know that. Madison watched, her fingers gripping the armrest just a little too tightly. And then she relaxed. Ethan relaxed. They thought their plan was working. They believed I had just poisoned myself on their behalf. The plane lifted off. 12 hours trapped in the sky with people who wanted me dead. For the first hour, I pretended to sleep. Through my eyelashes, barely cracked open, I saw them whisper. Saw them exchange looks. Saw Madison typing messages on her phone, the screen angled away from me. Saw Ethan's leg bouncing nervously. Every so often, Madison's eyes would flick to the water bottle sitting in my cup holder as if waiting for something to happen. If I hadn't known their intentions, I would have assumed they were concerned. But now I understood the truth. They weren't watching me. They were watching death. 2 hours in, Ethan leaned toward me. "Dad," he whispered, "how are you feeling? Headache? Chest tightness?" "Just tired," I murmured. He nodded slowly. I saw the flicker of confusion. Then doubt. Why wasn't anything happening? Madison rested her chin on her palm, studying me with the calculated precision of someone waiting for a delayed train. "Maybe he needs more water," she said softly. I smiled to myself. "Not today, sweetheart." I sat upright. "Actually, I'm feeling better." Ethan blinked. "Really?" "Yes," I said, "better than I have in months." Their expressions shifted, subtle but unmistakable. Confusion. Annoyance. A hint of panic. Something wasn't right. Something wasn't happening according to plan. Good. 4 hours in, I excused myself to use the restroom. As I walked down the aisle, I made eye contact with a man in seat 4A, a middle-aged tourist with sunglasses tucked into his shirt. He gave me a barely visible nod. One of Harrington's undercover agents. Another sat 6 rows behind us, pretending to read a magazine. For the first time since this nightmare began, I felt a thin thread of safety. But safety didn't stop the emotional freefall inside me. Because no matter how many agents surrounded me, no matter how much evidence the government collected, no matter how well I performed this twisted charade, I was still a father sitting beside a son who wanted him dead. A son I had raised. A son I had loved. A son I had sacrificed everything for. And he had turned my life into a countdown clock. When I returned to my seat, Ethan looked up at me, studying my face like a doctor checking for symptoms. "You good, Dad?" "Never better," I said. The turbulence hit soon after, small, sharp bumps rattling the cabin. Madison grabbed Ethan's arm, startled. I didn't react. Because after what I had seen on those airport monitors, after learning what my own son planned to do, after taking a sip from a bottle meant to kill me, no plane turbulence could scare me. Not anymore. This trip was no longer about survival. It was about exposing the truth. And when we landed in Zurich, the real game would begin. Zurich greeted us with cold mountain air, glass buildings, and an eerie sense of calm that I couldn't enjoy. As soon as we stepped off the plane, I felt a shift, not in the air, but in Ethan and Madison. Back in the United States, they acted cautiously. Here, thousands of miles away from federal jurisdiction, they seemed lighter, almost relieved. As if this new continent offered them more room to finish what they had started. "Dad, this city is beautiful," Ethan said while we walked toward baggage claim. "You're going to love this trip." I forced a smile. "I'm sure I will." Madison looped her arm through his. "And we're going to make some amazing memories together." Memories. They wanted my last days to look picturesque on the surface. A perfect vacation before an unexpected tragedy. Our luggage arrived quickly. While we waited for a taxi, Ethan stepped aside to make a call. He turned his back to me, but I caught a few words anyway. "Yeah, we made it. He looks fine." "No, nothing yet." His voice dropped lower. But I didn't need the rest. Who was he talking to? A lender? An accomplice? Someone waiting for payment once I was gone? Madison walked up beside me, breaking my thoughts. "Are you cold, Daniel?" Do you want my scarf? Her kindness was so convincing that for a split second, the human brain stupidly loyal almost believed she meant it. No, thank you, I said. Our hotel sat beside a lake, the kind of place travel magazines rave about. The lobby smelled of cedar and citrus. A pianist played softly near the bar. Couples laughed over wine. Everything felt warm and inviting except the people I arrived with. The receptionist greeted us with perfect Swiss politeness. Welcome, Mr. Hayes. We've been expecting you. Expecting me? Before I could question it, he subtly slid me a small envelope under my passport. I opened it discreetly. Inside. We are here. You are safe. Ch. Cole Harrington. The agents had arrived ahead of us. A breath I didn't realize I was holding escaped my chest. Dad, you okay? Ethan asked. Just tired, I said. Long flight. Why don't you rest a bit? Madison suggested. We'll meet for dinner at 7. Sounds good. We took the elevator to the top floor. My suite was spacious modern interior, soft lighting, windows overlooking the lake. But the moment I closed the door behind me, the weight of the day crashed onto my shoulders. I sat on the edge of the bed and buried my face in my hands. My son tried to kill me. And I was about to spend 2 weeks pretending I didn't know. At 6:15 p.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. Mr. Hayes, a woman's voice said. This is Agent Parker with Homeland Security. We're supervising your stay in Europe. Do you feel safe? Safe? A bitter laugh almost escaped. As safe as a man traveling with his killers can be. We intercepted communications, Agent Parker continued. Ethan texted someone in the States from the airport. What did he say? He wrote, it didn't work on the plane. I'll try again tonight. My blood ran cold. Tonight. They were planning attempt number 2 tonight. How? I whispered. We're working on that. But remember to not eat or drink anything they hand you directly. And avoid private balconies, pools, saunas, or isolated spots. I froze. Balconies. My room had one. So did theirs. Understood, I said. At 7 sharp, I met Ethan and Madison in the lobby for dinner. They looked radiant, dressed well, smiling like they didn't have murder on their agenda. Dad. Ethan waved enthusiastically. Ready to eat? Yes, I said, starving. We walked into the hotel's fine dining restaurant. Candlelight flickered. Soft jazz filled the room. Madison leaned toward me with a gentle smile. You should order the house wine, she said. It helps with jet lag. I stared at her, at those eyes so skilled at hiding darkness, and I answered quietly. No thanks. I think I'll stay sober tonight. They both stiffened, barely noticeable to an untrained eye. But I saw it. I felt it. Attempt number 2 had already begun. Dinner was elegant white tablecloths, crystal glasses, soft violins, but beneath the polished perfection, danger pulsed like a second heartbeat. Ethan and Madison chatted about plans for the next day, lake tours, cable cars, mountaintop restaurants. The kind of itinerary loving children prepare for a parent they adore. Except none of it was real. They were actors performing the final scene of a play where I didn't survive the third act. When the food arrived, Madison pushed her plate slightly toward me. Try this, Daniel. It's delicious. I smiled politely. No thanks. Sticking to what I ordered. Something dark flashed through her eyes, quick, controlled, gone in an instant. After dinner, Ethan paid the bill with a credit card I recognized mine. Come on, Dad, he said cheerfully. Let's step onto the terrace. The night view is amazing. The terrace. Balcony railings. A perfect opportunity. Agent Parker's warning echoed in my skull. Avoid balconies, pools, saunas, anywhere isolated. My heartbeat thumped like a muffled drum inside my throat. Still, I forced a nod. Sure, I said. Let's take a look. We walked through a set of glass doors onto a wide stone terrace overlooking Lake Zurich. The night air was crisp. The water below shimmered with reflections of the city lights. Beautiful. Deadly. Madison stood by the railing, her hands gripping the cold metal. Ethan positioned himself behind me too intentional. Look at that view, he said. Bet you've never seen anything like it. His voice had a strange quality now. Softer. Focused. I stepped closer to the edge, deliberately needing to control the distance, not let him dictate it. Dad, Ethan said quietly, come stand here. I want a picture of us together. He moved behind me, placing a hand lightly between my shoulder blades. Not pushing. Just guiding. Exactly as Agent Harrington described in the briefing. Madison lifted her phone. Smile, Daniel. Her voice trembled not with emotion, but with anticipation. Hold still, she said. Right there. Right there. With nothing but a 3-foot railing between me and a 40-foot drop. Cold panic wrapped around my spine. This was it. Attempt number 2 wasn't about poison. They wanted it to look like an accident. A simple slip. A tragic fall. An aging father who leaned too far. Ethan, I said lightly, step in a bit. We're too close to the edge. He didn't move. Instead, he pressed his hand more firmly against my back. Don't worry, he murmured. I've got you. No you don't, I thought. You never did. And then. A noise sliced through the tense silence. The screech of a chair. The clink of a glass. The shuffle of footsteps. Someone stepped out onto the terrace. A couple mid-30s, laughing, arms intertwined walked right past us. Ethan's hand jerked away. Madison lowered her phone instantly, her smile collapsing. The moment was gone. Their perfect timing shattered. My knees almost buckled with adrenaline. Let's head back inside, Ethan said quickly, masking frustration. It's getting chilly. Sure, I replied, my voice steady only because survival demanded it. We walked back into the dining room together, 3 silhouettes that, to any observer, seemed like a loving family ending a lovely evening. But I knew better. And they knew I wasn't dead. Later that night, back in my suite, I locked the door, threw the latch, and leaned against it until my breathing steadied. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Mr. Hayes, Agent Parker said the moment I answered, our camera feeds picked up everything. Your son's positioning was not accidental. I know, I whispered. We had 2 undercover agents inside the restaurant, she continued. When the couple walked onto the terrace, it disrupted the attempt. That likely saved your life. My throat tightened. They'll try again, won't they? Yes, she said. Their behavior indicates escalation. And when people escalate, they get sloppy. Which helps us. I looked out at the dark lake beyond my window, beautiful, still, deceptive. Just like them. What do I do now? I asked. Keep playing the part, she said. Let them think you have no idea what's happening. I swallowed hard, my chest aching. I don't know how much longer I can pretend. I know, she said gently. But remember, every attempt they make brings us one step closer to putting them away forever. Her words should have given me comfort. But all I felt was grief. How did my life become this? How did my son become someone who calculated my death twice? That night, sleep didn't come easily. When it did, I dreamed of railings giving way. And of a familiar voice whispering behind me. Don't worry, Dad. I've got you. The next morning, the sky over Zurich was gray, heavy clouds hanging low over the lake like a warning. I hadn't slept much. Every sound in the hallway made me jump. Every creak of the building made me wonder if Ethan was outside my door with another plan. At 9 sharp, there was a soft knock. I froze. Then a voice whispered, "Room service." I looked through the peephole. It wasn't room service. It was Agent Parker, dressed in a hotel uniform. I opened the door just enough to let her slip inside. "We need to move quickly," she said, pulling out a small device no bigger than a shirt button. "This is your microphone. Once it's activated, we'll hear everything in real time." I stared at it. "And you're certain they'll talk? Given last night's failed attempt?" "Yes. Pressure exposes cracks." I swallowed. "And if they get violent?" "We're posted on your floor," she said. 2 agents disguised as guests. 1 as a housekeeper. The moment you say the code phrase, we break the door. "What's the code phrase?" She looked me in the eyes. "I think I need some air." I nodded. My hands shook as I placed the microphone under the seam of my shirt. "Mr. Hayes," she added quietly before leaving, "you're not doing this alone. We're with you." But when the door closed behind her, I realized something. When it came to Ethan, I was alone. No agent could protect me from the emotional damage. At 10:30 a.m., I knocked on their door. Madison opened it, her expression bright and rehearsed. "Daniel. Good morning." Behind her, Ethan looked up from his laptop. "Dad, come in. We were just planning our day." Their room was messy, suitcases half open, clothes thrown over chairs, papers scattered on the desk. No trace of the perfection they performed in public. I sat down on the couch across from them. "Ethan," I began softly, "we need to talk." The room shifted instantly like air tightening before a storm. Ethan's smile faltered. Madison froze. "About what?" he asked carefully. I leaned forward. "About the call you made yesterday. The one you thought I didn't overhear." Madison's eyelashes fluttered. "Daniel, what call?" "You said," I continued calmly, "it didn't work on the plane. I'll try again tonight." Silence. A sharp, slicing silence. Ethan stood abruptly. "Dad, you're misunderstanding." "I'm not misunderstanding," I said. "You were planning something. Both of you." Madison's voice cracked. "Daniel, that's ridiculous." "Don't lie," I said quietly. "Not today." Their expressions changed, subtle at first. Then fully. Fear. Panic. Guilt. I had seen those expressions before. In suspects during depositions. In employees caught stealing. But never on my own child. Ethan's shoulders slumped. "Dad, please listen." "I'm listening," I said. He ran a hand through his hair, pacing. "We were desperate. We didn't know what else to do. The debts kept piling up." Madison cut in, voice shaking, "They said they'd come after us. After me. After Ethan. They threatened us." "So you decided," I said, my tone steady and horribly calm, "that the best way out was to kill me." Neither denied it. That was the moment their masks slipped finally, completely. Everything they had been hiding poured out like poison. "Dad," Ethan said, dropping to a chair, "you have no idea what kind of people we owe. They said they'd break our legs. They said they'd take everything. I panicked. Panic, I replied, is not an excuse for murder. Madison wiped a tear. It was my idea. Ethan didn't want to. Madison, he snapped, stop. But the damage was done. The confession was out. Exactly what the agents needed. My chest tightened not with fear anymore, but with grief so deep it felt physical. You know, I whispered, if you had just come to me just told me I needed help. Ethan's eyes filled. Dad, I was ashamed. Before I could speak again, he said the words that shattered whatever remained of my heart. We didn't want you dead because we hated you. We did it because we needed you. Needed me. Needed me dead. I felt tears sting my eyes. The microphone under my shirt was capturing every word. Every lie. Every truth. And all I could think was, how did we ever become this? Madison leaned toward me, voice trembling. Daniel, can you forgive us? Can we fix this? I took a long breath. Then I said the code phrase. I think I need some air. Within seconds, a crash erupted from the hallway. And the door burst open.